Welcome to Clifton Health On Air. I'm your host, Danielle.
And I'm your co-host, Lauren. And with us today is Gabriel Blau, CEO of the Boys and Girls Club of Clifton. Welcome.
Thank you.
And also with us is Crystal, local outreach coordinator. Welcome.
Hi.
Welcome, everyone. Thank you so much for being here and being on our podcast.
Thank you for having me. I love visiting the health department.
Yes, and we love having you. So let's talk all about the Clifton Boys and Girls Club.
Sure. Well, we've been around for 77 years, and I am the fourth CEO in that time, taking over for some legendary leaders who have really shaped how we serve our kids here in Clifton, how we think about community and think about youth development. It's a real honor to be there. We have about 4,000 members, and every year we serve over 7,000 kids through our sports programming, our education programs. Our youngest members are 2.5 years old, and we have members who are with us all the way through high school and a little bit beyond. We go from learning how to write and how to communicate up through getting your first job and succeeding.
Awesome. That's really great. And working with you for just over a year now. How long have you been?
Yeah, it's been about 13 or 14 months.
Wow. Time flies because we were
It
having
really
fun.
does.
We had a lot going on. And so it's been a great year. And so
Well,
I want to thank you for that.
I want to thank you. You know, the Clifton Health Department has been really an incredible partner. I've been lucky enough to work with a lot of partners throughout my career in government, and this team has really been easy to work with and creative and professional and really had a measurable impact. I mean, in this last year, we've done everything from build our partnership around serving neurodivergent family kids and their families. It's helped us through being part of the coalition, Steps to a Healthier Clifton.
Absolutely.
Helped us understand the community we're serving better. The trainings, you've helped us educate our staff. The youth mental health work that we're doing.
Yeah.
I mean, these are all really impactful opportunities for us that as a club we would not be able to do alone.
Absolutely.
That's awesome. And we're so grateful that you're such an enthusiastic partner as well. And you're so willing to continuously better your services and cater to the Clifton residents. So I wanted to kind of touch a bit on what kind of leadership qualities you think it takes for someone to be a successful CEO. One of the legends that you spoke about, what are you taking from your predecessors, I guess?
Running a club is, it's more complex, frankly, than I could have imagined. And it's different from running other organizations. You have to simultaneously think about what's going on every day, the little things. From, yesterday I was looking at a leak in a pump and dealing with the logistics of getting kids to and from their schools, and also with kids who were having troubles. One, a bullying issue, another, a parent who's struggling with an issue with their family. And you have to be able to do all of that while thinking about the bigger picture. How are you building a resource, a service, a community that helps a very wide range of young people and their families succeed? So you have to be able to work on the macro and the micro level at the same time. And I think it says something about an organization that's had so few leaders over such a long time period and has grown to be one of the largest boys and girls clubs in the country. We serve thousands of kids in an ever-changing way, and each leader has had to adapt the club to the times, to what the community needs. Clifton has always been very diverse and has historically been a first stop city for families. And that means we're always in need of listening and adjusting to the communities that make up Clifton.
As you're in this role, how would you approach I guess, strategic planning and setting goals for that opportunity you're talking about?
So we're in the midst of a strategic planning process right now, just kicking it off. And what we think about first and foremost is, of course, the needs of our kids. How do we serve the thousands of kids that call the club and their community? We look at everything we do in terms of our children's needs now and their futures. So we have to think about what are the programs and services that we deliver right now. But we also have to think about how do we make it sustainable? How do we make it affordable? How do we think about our ability to not just serve, but serve in ever deeper ways, continuously increase quality? Something that a lot of people don't know about Boys and Girls Clubs or don't realize is that we're not babysitting programs. We're not an aftercare program.
Right.
We're a youth development agency. And that means that what we do is about helping young people develop into their best selves. Our work is evidence-based. And so when we think about our strategic planning, we're thinking about what does the evidence say now about what young people need? And how do we create an environment in which we can deliver those services to the greatest number of young people and do it in ways that have a real impact on their lives. Something I always encourage our staff to think about to simplify it is, what are we doing today that makes it so that when a young person crosses our threshold, our front door, their life begins to change? And that doesn't mean they're coming from a bad life. Our goal is that any young person who's part of our program, any club kid, it's better because they're at the club than if they were going home to a studio apartment with multiple siblings, single parent, the toughest of economic situations or social emotional settings, potentially, or if they were coming from, the most well-resourced family with, the greatest standard of stability measures. That regardless of that, it's better for them to be part of the club because it will help them be a better person. This isn't about pity, and it's not about correcting what's what we used to think of as what some people couldn't give their kids.
Right.
This is about supporting families wherever they are, and doing that by focusing on the child.
That's awesome.
That's
and you
wonderful.
touched on a few things that we'll definitely circle back to. But I think in terms of focusing on improving the lives of these children, even if it's just, in that small way, can you talk about how you work on this continuously and continue to grow and continue to adapt to the needs of the children and in innovative ways as well?
Sure. So there are a couple of pieces to this. As a Boys and Girls Club, we have access to a lot of research and programming that's evidence-based through the Boys and Girls Clubs of America.
Okay.
And so we use that as a starting point. And we figure out which of these programs meet the needs of our kids and how do we implement them in the best way for Clifton.
Okay.
So that's always changing, and we have that resource. But we're also always measuring how we're doing internally. We participate in something called the National Youth Outcomes Initiative, which is a survey that all Boys and Girls Clubs do. It's only for a portion of our kids. They have to be 9 years old in the third grade and above. But it helps us measure from year to year how we're doing. How safe do they feel at the club? How safe do they feel in life because of the club? What are their needs? And so on. And that's really a really important tool that helps us always think about what is our programming doing and what can it do better. We also just have to know our kids. In order to evolve our programming, we have to be able to look at the statistics, we have to be able to look at the research, but we also have to look at our children.
Right.
We have to know them, and each one is different. What their needs are is different. And the wonderful thing about the club is it's a bit of a bubble. So the assumptions that you might make, you can't really make at the club because we kind of create an environment in which it's not immediately apparent where children are each coming from in a good way. So we need to know them, but we give them a chance to show us who they are and what their needs are. And so that means that every youth development professional, every counselor, is responsible and able to adjust how they're working with every young person.
Right.
Do they need to give them extra homework help? Do they need to arrange for them to go to the tutoring center? Would they maybe thrive in one of the athletics programs? Is there an opportunity to create something for that child, an environment where they specifically will succeed? And there's nothing that can replace that relationship. All of our work is based on a positive youth development framework,
Okay.
which has 3 pillars. It is positive relationships with trusted adults, positive environments, and positive experiences and opportunities. As long as we're always striving to create that, the content of the work will enable children to find their best selves. And we've seen this all over. I've heard from kids of all ages about particular adults in the club who have helped them through tough times. I know a young person who's now a second grader who had an experience last year where they, even as a first grader, really felt seen and heard, and it changed everything.
Wow.
They changed how they acted, how their relationships with peers has changed. And it was really from a moment where they suddenly saw that they were seen, that they were being taken seriously as a person, and that's a first grader. I've heard from one high school senior who described their one adult at the club who they say saved their life.
Wow.
That in the wake of COVID, they were in a place where they don't know that they would still be here today had that person and that program not just been there for them, but encouraged them, reached out to them, pushed them in a comforting way to come back and be part of it. And that's magic. I've been part of incredible programs. I find myself saying a lot here that to have a career in which I've gotten to speak to millions of people at once, or on TV, or help write a law, and I don't think I've ever felt like I've had as much impact on the world as working with our 200 staff and seeing these individual moments. And you think about Clifton as a whole, and if 4,000 kids, most of them are from Clifton, if every year 4,000 young people are getting some piece of this experience, and at 1,000 clubs around the country, I really believe that this kind of work is what we need to change the world. And the more we take it seriously, we've erased aftercare from our language. And I've even corrected, the other day I had a conversation with a parent, and they mentioned aftercare. And when it was appropriate, I worked in every time I just changed the language. I never repeated aftercare. We've erased that from our website. We don't provide aftercare because aftercare sounds like babysitting. And for a lot of our families, that alone is a huge help and it's important. So we don't minimize that. But we want to make sure all of our parents know that what we're providing is an after-school enrichment program, that when a child does sports at the club, it is intended to be a youth development program. And nothing could show that better than our aquatics center. We have one of the best swim teams in the country. We're number 2 among boys and girls clubs. We break records all the time. You will never see a coach berating a child. You will never see a team meeting or any conversation in which a child is being pressured in an unhealthy way. And yet, we're one of the best in the country. That is what real commitment to positive youth development can do. And it's not just a theory. It's not just an idea that wouldn't it be great if we're just nice to kids. We've heard from these young people. They've told us about experiences in which, and these are very competitive kids, in which they didn't succeed and their team was there for them and their coaches were there for them. We didn't belittle that. We didn't say, you don't need to win. But we made sure that every single one of them felt like they were on a journey And even though their goal might be to win, the journey itself was safe and help them be secure and help them be a stronger person.
This is
Amazing.
This is absolutely amazing. I'm over here tearing up because the thought of how many children this club is changing, the lives that they're impacting,
I think
it's public
also-
health at its finest, first of all,
Definitely.
and it's just great. And let me wipe my tear.
No, I think you also touched on the power of respecting the child and letting them have a voice, and
Right.
also having that model of emotional regulation in those tough times. So with sports, you often see coaches, even on television, like
Right.
the NBA, the NFL, where coaches get really emotional, and we can almost expect that. So seeing where you're speaking about this team, and it just really touched me that you can model emotional regulation and the outcome is still there. You don't have to go to those extents or those extremes to see the results, quote unquote, right? So that's just amazing, and that's something that I just wanted to highlight a little bit more, because it's so important to know that you can still do amazing things and not, in a different way. We can just open ourselves
in
up
a
to
nice positive light, in a positive way, to encourage children, and what you said, a first grader was seen. A first grader,
Yeah.
if a first grader is not seen, they're not listened to, and they're not heard, they're not valued. They want to feel valued, and so at the club they feel valued,
That's our goal.
and that's wonderful.
And I should say this is hard.
Right.
This
right.
is really hard, and we're working on it. We're striving. These are our goals. We are doing it in a lot of our programming, but it is tough. It is, a club, the model, in order to make it affordable, in order for it to work, is built on mostly part-time staff. These are incredible people who are dedicating, hours every day to hard work, draining work. Many of them come after a full-time job. And so you asked earlier about how we plan, how we think about strategic planning and how we think about quality. A lot of our work is equipping these incredible staff members with the tools and the resources they need, and that's difficult. That's difficult because they're not with us all day. They're certainly not paid enough. This is the same story in our schools. And so we have to be thinking all the time about what the ideal is and how every day we can take a little step towards it. One of the things we're working on is integrating more of our programs.
Okay. Can you explain what that means?
So we have kids who learn swimming at the club. They're members. They come, they take swim lessons. We give about 4,000 swim lessons a year. And for some kids, that's most of what they do most years. They're still a club member. Our swimming program uses our positive youth development framework, but we want them to have access to the rest of what the club has to offer and to integrate with the rest of the community in their age groups. Families are busy, kids are busy. This is no longer a world in which kids just stroll on over to the club to hang out. So an important goal of ours is to help this community feel like a community, to bring kids together across programs. If you're at the club because you're on the basketball team, we want you to be in some of the volunteer programs like Torch Club for middle schoolers, which is a community service group, or for our high schoolers to be in Keystone. We want to make sure that you're learning about, if you're one of our youth workers, we have a tremendous youth worker program, First Jobs program, where we spend over $500,000 a year paid directly to young people, high school age members who are learning to be professionals. They're learning to teach swim lessons, to coach, to tutor. They're in every part of the club. Well, we don't want them to just work as a lifeguard or a tutor. We also want to educate them about finances and about good decisions. We want them to be part of a community that's different from their community at school. And in some ways, we think about it as the third place for kids. Adults have home and work and Starbucks. And the club is that for kids. So all of these ideals, what we're trying to accomplish, they're ideals. In many corners of the club, they're happening. But it's a constant effort to equip staff and design the programming to actually succeed for every one of these thousands of kids.
So can you share some top priorities that you have for the club in the next 5 years?
What a lot of people don't know about the club is we have a lot of waiting lists.
Okay.
Our summer camp, for example, fills up very quickly, and this year filled up faster than ever. And so we want to create more opportunities for engagement. What that looks like, we don't quite know yet. Our space is only so big. We have an incredible clubhouse, but it's still limited. We work very closely with the Board of Education to use the schools as best we can, but we're still trying to figure out how do we create more opportunity, how to create more opportunity in the after-school program, in our, at all ages, in the preschool program, in camp. How do we create more opportunity for more kids to engage with the club? So that's one goal.
Okay.
Another is, like I said, integrating across programs. So it makes, when you do engage, a more impactful experience. It's really important that when a club kid, a club member leaves the club, that they feel like the club is a community and is a network in their lives that will support them the rest of their lives. And so the more we can integrate our programs and experiences, the more we can have create that experience for our members. We are in the process, the beginning stages of becoming a trauma-informed agency, which means that in addition to the standard positive youth development framework, that we do everything, or will eventually do everything, from a trauma-informed lens, which simply means that we think about the people involved, that there are more voices heard, and that we consider how the emotional needs of our members and our staff factor into the programs. We can't design programs that are for a generic member. There's no such thing. So trauma-informed practice, which has been around for a while, and I've had the privilege of working in a trauma-informed youth agency before. Clubs across the country are going through this process. It's just adding a deeper layer to the work we're already doing. I'll say, one of our big goals is to ensure stability, financial stability for our kids, and for the club to be able to offer these services to these kids. And that is always the toughest piece. We are very lucky to be in Clifton, where we have a community of people who care about and love the club, where Clifton is one of those rare cities where people stay around. And so you have a lot of adults and parents and grandparents who went to the club, and that puts us in a really great position. But the program it's expensive for us to run, which means even though we try to keep prices low, it's not free.
Right.
And so figuring out how we create the greatest amount of financial stability for the club and structure it so that more people have access is a really important goal of ours.
Sounds wonderful. And I'm just going to put our co-host on the spot. I myself went to the club's camp, but Lauren herself also went to the camp.
Yes, I did. For swim lessons. When I was 7 years old.
Yeah.
So it's something you'll never forget. Swimming's such a vital part of everyday life, even if you don't really think about it. It's safety. It's, you can walk by a pool, you're not afraid because you know how to swim.
Right.
A lot of the work we do, it looks just like, okay, you're learning how to swim, you're on a team, you're hanging out in a game room. It's about building confidence. And it's amazing how many people learn to swim at the club and then feel connected to the club for life.
Yes.
Which cannot be said about a lot of places where you can learn to swim. that's something special, and that is adding to that person's life experience.
Right.
I just want to touch upon some of the programs that the Boys and Girls Club offers. So what is the most impactful program? How do you measure success of programs and how they impact the youth? And then how do you ensure that it's accessible and inclusive for all youth, regardless of background and circumstances?
So we're a club that offers a wide range of programs, but at the core of our clubs is our after-school programming. And for us, that includes a full-time preschool daycare program, and then after-school through middle school. And that's where we have the largest number of kids who come every day. Every day in our care, we have we have about, I think, 1,200 kids this year every day in our care after school, not including sports, not including swimming.
Okay.
But all of our programs, like I said, are designed to be youth development programs, and making sure that they all are attentive to the range of needs that kids have is an important goal of ours. To make them accessible, it's a struggle. It's not just about finances. It's also about time. It's about space. It's this year, for the first time, part of our camp registration was online. We still do most of our registration in person, which means you have to take time off of work to come to the club to register on very specific days.
Wow.
That's
tough.
Challenge.
Yeah.
That's a problem. I have a little bit of a background in tech, and I was sure when I came on, well, we're just going to go online, easy. There are some unique challenges to running a club and to get these things online. So we're working on that, and that creates more opportunity. On the other hand, we have a lot of people on waiting lists. So we reconfigured the club last summer, I should say, to create more spaces for more programming, and that's enabled us to expand a bit. We have an incredible partnership with the Board of Ed. So our club, we run 14 clubs. We have the one clubhouse, but we have clubs at each of the almost every elementary school, and we have wraparound care at Clifton Early Learning Academy at one site, and we're about to open 2 more. And each of those we consider a club, and they have a supervisor and a team. So we're expanding and thinking about how we make sure that those clubs give you the full experience as much as possible. And they have advantages too. They're smaller. You're in a space that you're familiar with when you're a young person because you're going to the club in your school. So that's a way that we're able to expand and make it more accessible. It also means, because of how Clifton works, that you're for the most part, in the neighborhood where you live, which makes it easier for families because their child is near their home. And there's a real value in that, in building that community.
That's amazing. And especially hearing, I know that you mentioned earlier as well, the work around individuals with autism or developmental disabilities as well, and how that's been expanding. So just amazing work.
Yeah.
Right,
we're just
I don't
here in
want
awe,
to toot your horn, but
basically.
it's amazing work. And switching gears a little bit, I wanted to ask about how you engage with local businesses, community leaders to support the mission of the Boys and Girls Club and effectively fundraise or secure resources that help the Boys and Girls Club continue to thrive and provide all these amazing resources.
Yeah, this is, our club has one of these kind of classic stories, but it's real. This club started in the 40s because a group of adults saw a need among young people. And since then, that's remained the driving force behind the club. It's been local leaders, it's been businesses who invest in the club, and that's a tradition we're really proud of. It feels like if you are going to do business in Clifton, you have to support the club. It's the most direct way to support the widest range of families who live here, and that support means everything to us. It's what enables us to offer scholarships and financial aid. It's what enables us to expand not just our programming, but our facilities. 25 years ago, we opened the current building, which was an expansion of a building that was, and that had been there since the mid 50s.
Yeah.
And all over the building, there are plaques
Right.
of businesses and individuals who made this hallway happen, this room happen, this building. And that continues to today. Our partnerships with businesses around Clifton is vital. It also is not just about money. We have Career Experience Day, and it's a program we do with the high school where where juniors are able to come to the club for a day. They get matched up with a business that they're interested in pursuing a career in. They spend a few hours there seeing the business, shadowing a professional, and then they come back to the club where they learn about interview skills, resume building, writing. All those businesses are the businesses that support the club, and it's a way for them to really engage with the work. We have groups from companies who come in all the time to do things like read to the kids, tutor, paint the walls. These are things that if we didn't have them, we either wouldn't be able to do or we'd have to spend a lot of money on. So those partnerships are really, really important to us. And local leaders in government and in the community are key to us understanding what needs are and to connecting with other resources. Our relationship with the health department is a really perfect example of that. There are things that we can do together that are
absolutely.
much stronger than if either one of us did them on our own. It's a partnership that helps us think about larger Clifton in a way that dramatically impacts what we're delivering to kids in the club.
Yeah, absolutely.
All that being said, we're not a rich club. We rely on the generosity of businesses, of the generosity of individuals. Our families pay fees for most programs. We need the community to continue and supporting the club and to be thinking about the club as a vital part of what makes Clifton such an amazing place to raise children. Everything gets more expensive, and the work we do gets more expensive. But we can't serve fewer kids. We have to go in the opposite direction. We have to make it more accessible to more kids. And that means needing more support from the community, or continuing to get the incredible support we've gotten, and finding ways to make that support impactful for the kids, but also for those who are giving it.
With that said, we can't not touch upon the gala on April 3rd for our partnership that we built this year. And so I just wanted to say thank you to you and the Boys and Girls Club of Clifton for honoring us. The Clifton Health Department is being honored at this gala alongside Fetty Ford, another local business here in Clifton that is impactful.
Yeah, we are excited to have two incredible honorees this
Right.
year. The Clifton Health Department, for all the reasons we've talked about, the partnership, the impact on kids, we when it comes to kids, we share a mission, and we've proven in this work together that partnerships, genuine, open partnerships that are just honest and focused on the mission, can be relatively easy in some cases and just enhance.
Right. Hence
Both.
the mission.
Yeah, and so I
For
think Clifton's
the community
kids
overall.
are better off because of this partnership, and when we talk about honoring people and who we could recognize, the gala is a celebration of the club. It's a chance, yes, to raise money. That is its goal, but it's where people who care about the club come together to celebrate everything we've done over the year. And so the honorees have to represent that. And the Clifton Health Department And our work together encapsulates both this incredible community and also the opportunities we still have to serve more kids in deeper ways. The Fetty family, similarly, the Fetty family has been involved in the club since the beginning. John Fetty, is on our board now. He's second generation to be on the board. They've been incredible supporters. They stood with us like the health department did through COVID. And, their commitment to the club is they don't have kids in the club right now. Right? None of the generations are at the club at the moment, I believe. But the club is central to their understanding of themselves as a family and their commitment to Clifton. So these are two incredible honorees. It's a celebration of all we've done and all we can do. This year, we're excited to have more of our young people involved in the evening.
Wonderful.
We still strive to make it, even though it's a fundraiser, to make it affordable. So it's not affordable for everybody. It is a fundraiser. The ticket price is at $100, which for something like this is fairly low. But that's part of our values. Is we want as many people there as possible to celebrate. And I think everyone who comes, we get a few hundred people, will feel that. You'll see it in the ad journal and all of the individuals and businesses who have taken out ads in support of the health department and the Fetty family. You'll see it in the program that evening. And most of all, you'll see it all year in the work we're going to be doing together and in the faces of thousands of kids who are directly impacted by the support of both honorees.
Absolutely.
And if someone wanted to donate or contribute in some way, how could they go about doing that?
Sure. So number one, go to our website. It's bgcclifton.org. So it's two C's in the middle there. bgcclifton.org. But also we're in the midst of our annual campaign. And right now we have an incredible board. These are people who are just so deeply committed to the mission and the club. Some of them have been part of the club for more than 50 years. And they've been members, parents, local business people. This year they've come together to match $50,000 in donations to the annual campaign. So it's a really good time to donate. Right. For every dollar you give, the club will get $2. And so if we can max that out, that match out, it'll really help the club. All year round, there are opportunities to give, but that's an amazing opportunity. And then if you play golf, we have our golf outing, which is a real fun event. I show up just for the lunch.
That's the most important.
That's the most important part.
That is a good part.
And it's a really fun time and a fun way to raise resources for the club. And then we'll be launching our summer scholarship campaign.
Okay.
Camp is a really effective way to help young people. It is proven to be an impactful experience for young people over generations. So we strive to make our camp that kind of experience. That means getting support from the community to provide as many scholarships as possible. Essentially, the way we do our pricing, everyone's getting a scholarship because we're not charging anybody what the real cost is. But there are also people who need more support.
Right.
And so the summer scholarship campaign helps us do that. I want to say one more thing about camp and about the club in general. We say, and everything we do is geared around, our number one priority is safety. But that doesn't just mean physical safety. It also means emotional safety. And positive youth development is about all of that. Camp is where you can see it in some unique ways. when camp ended last year, I saw kids on the last day hugging each other and crying because camp was over. And it reminded me of camps that I went to or I worked at.
Right.
Sleepaway camps, camps where you're with people who you may never see again, or you won't see them until the next summer. What's so amazing is that our camp, which we make very affordable, it takes place in the same clubhouse all of our other programs throughout the year take place in. We have more kids in this camp than you normally would in a clubhouse our size. We stay within, we make sure it's safe. We stay within fire code and our child care license, but we still, half the gym can't be used as a gym because it's used by camp groups, and so on. And yet, these kids are having this experience, even though 2 weeks later they're going to be back in the same building with the same kids for after school. But their sense of safety and the experience of community during the summer is so strong that their emotional response to it ending reflects that power. And I think that comes from making it accessible through the generosity of the community and being committed to physical and emotional safety, so that there's an experience in a cinder block building in the middle of Clifton that is as strong as any camp experience I've ever witnessed.
And just to touch upon that, if you ever need, the health department's right here. We have our social services division right there. And we'll be happy to help in any way during camp for any student who needs it.
Well, I will be taking you up on that, and I look
Awesome.
forward to partnering with the health department on expanding that part of the partnership,
Yeah.
so that our young people are taken care of all year round, everywhere, at home and at the club.
And lastly, if someone would like to sign their child up, I know you said there was a long wait list, but is that also something they can access through the website?
Absolutely. So everything's on our website, and while we do have wait lists, it's not for everything, and it depends how old your child is and what
Okay.
that program and,
Right.
and so on. So everyone should head over to bgcclifton.org, and if there's a program that they like, you can sign up. First, your child has to become a member, and being a member is step one. It's important, and we make sure that our kids feel like that membership means something, that they're part of something, no matter what program they're in. So sign your child up to be a member. It's only $40 a year. It does really support the club. Even at $40, the membership dollars are an important part of our revenue, our financial stability. But that is what unlocks the world of the club.
Is there any additional information you have for anyone that's listening out there?
I just want to say thank you to the Clifton community, to the health department, to the organizations and businesses in Clifton, but also the individuals who entrust us with their kids, who support us, and who believe in what we're doing. It means a lot, and I think it's part of what makes our club special. It's not one or two people or companies who write big checks. It's a whole community that seems to believe that having a strong Boys and Girls Club is what makes it possible to have a strong Clifton.
Well said. Absolutely. Thank you so much for coming on our podcast. Don't be a stranger. You're always welcomed on this podcast. And for those who have specific questions about the club, you can go to their website directly. And you can also, is there a phone number they can contact if need to be? Or is it just the website?
Sure. Well, on the website, there's
Okay.
a phone number. There are different phone numbers depending on who you're trying to contact. There's also a form to contact us via email.
Awesome.
And we look forward to hearing from new families who may not know that the club right here is also for them.
Yeah,
I mean,
absolutely.
you cover from preschool to their first jobs, right? So it's a large span of
Span,
life
yeah.
that you're covering there.
And I should say we're excited. There's so much you can talk about the club, but in thinking about the span of services, we're really excited to be reinvigorating our high school program, and we
Right. Can you
will
talk?
be,
Yeah.
yeah,
talk
we'll be
about that.
opening. We historically have had some really great high school programs, and the center of that is called Keystone, and it's a group of kids who self-identify and commit to serving the community and being part of a larger community, take on leadership roles and doing community service. We're looking forward to Teen Center just for high school kids, and we're excited to expand that work and go back to delivering even more for our teens. We take them on college visits. We help them discover themselves as leaders. They help us understand best how to serve the community. So, when there are more announcements about that, maybe
Can come
You
back
can
on.
come back
and
on.
share all of that, and we'll bring our
Anytime.
staff
And,
team.
Yep, absolutely. They're also welcome to be on our podcast. Gabe, it's been a pleasure talking with you. Thank you so much again for everything that you do at the club.
Thank you so much for having me.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Lauren, take us out.